For USC people, I was a UCLA Army ROTC grad. I graduated from UCLA in 1968. Skipped the graduation ceremony because you're one of 1,000, but was commissioned at the time of graduation as a second lieutenant in the Army. My branch was engineers. I was commissioned as a combat engineer, although I never served as a combat engineer, interestingly enough. My name is Bob Holmes. I live here in Manhattan Beach, and I served in Vietnam late in the war, from the period of July of 1970 till a year later, July of 1971. In Vietnam, I started out with a sort of, in quotes, a base camp, you might put it in quotes and call it, of Saigon. I finished up with the 1st Brigade, 5th Mechanized Infantry Division in Quang Tri Province, in the city of Quang Tri, up on the DMZ. I was all over the country because while I was headquartered in Saigon, I was with the Army Security Agency, which officially didn't even exist in Vietnam. It was called the 509th Radio Research Group, and we had subordinate units with each independent U.S. brigade, each U.S. division, and each Army division of the ARVN, Army of Republic of Vietnam Forces. So I was down in the Mekong Delta, way out in the boondocks, and up in the Central Highlands, Pleiku and Kontum, out in the coast, out around the Michelin Rubber Plantation, Cam Bay, China Beach, Da Nang, Quang Tri, the DMZ. If I had a better arm, I probably could have almost hit Vietnam with a rock. I was right on the DMZ. So I had the benefit of being all over the country. I went over there with a top secret security clearance with cryptographic and special intelligence access. Because I was with the Army Security Agency, I was their staff engineer, which again, given the fact I was a political science grad, that's kind of a strange assignment, but strange and wonderful are the ways of the Army. And so I was involved with planning and programming construction, major repairs, and so on for the facilities, the radio research field stations, and so on, which do electronic signal intercept. And I wasn't enjoying myself, so I was very fortunate. A full bird infantry colonel, Clark Trainer, who had been the executive officer of a unit that I was in stateside here in Vietnam, was the executive officer of an independent mechanized infantry brigade up on the DMZ. And Colonel Trainer was able to assist me in getting transferred up there, where I became the intelligence operations officer for the brigade. And there my job was to, through everything, POW interrogation reports, electronic intelligence, ranger and scout reports, captured battlefield things, POW interrogations, everything you can think of that feeds in information to get that, and my staff and I would try to analyze that and figure out where the enemy was and what they were doing. Their feeling that we were assisting the South Vietnamese people in resisting an invasion from the north, resisting aggression that they did not want. When I was over there, certainly the government of President Tu and Vice President Key didn't quite meet the standards that we'd like to think for our government here, although unfortunate incidents over the decades sometimes cause us to question our state and federal government as well here. We maybe aren't as perfect as we'd like to think. I went there feeling that we were assisting the South Vietnamese people in resisting an invasion from the north, resisting aggression that they did not want. When I was over there, certainly the government of President Tu and Vice President Key didn't quite meet the standards that we'd like to think for our government here, although unfortunate incidents over the decades sometimes cause us to question our state and federal government as well here. We maybe aren't as perfect as we'd like to think. But while I was over there, I realized that from my perspective, the great bulk of the Vietnamese people were like everybody here in the United States. They love their families, they got a job, In that case, in most cases, it was an agrarian society. They farmed in the fields and so on, worked hard, wanted to come home to their families at night, their kids, and be left alone.